Arizona, how we doing? Come on, let me hear you. Let me hear you. Let me hear you. So glad to be with you guys tonight. As Dave mentioned, my name is Dave Edwards. I got to spend 5 years here in Tucson getting to build up what you guys see here now. It's crazy actually getting to see this room. When I moved here with my wife in 2018, StuMo at Arizona did not exist yet. And so just getting to see all of your faces here, it is wild for me. I love getting to spend just a little bit of time with y'all. I got to take you back to a couple days ago, okay? So a couple days ago, I came face to face with one of my biggest fears. I wake up in the morning, alarm goes off, no big deal. Walk into the kitchen, drink some water. I walk over to our fruit bowl and I reach in, and right as I'm about to grab an orange, I stop. Something catches my eye, and I freeze. My heart starts racing. I back up. My palms start sweating. I am freaking out. Looking back at me from our fruit jar is this. One of these right here. Oh, disgust. Look at that, just evil. Get it off the screen. Take it down. Take it down. Okay, I legit have arachnophobia. Anyone else in here just like terrified of spiders? Terrified. Okay, cool. You're all normal. Anyone like actually like spiders? They're cool with spiders? Don't raise your hand. Put it down. All right, you're crazy. Okay, you said yes. You're crazy if you say yes to that. One of my biggest fears. I'm a huge wimp when it comes to spiders. My wife actually walked in. She saw me standing there looking at this thing. She's like, "You're so dramatic. Come on, deal with it. Be a man. Come on, deal with this thing." Walks away, leaves me there, just fending for myself. It's kind of I would say, a rational fear. I also have an irrational fear, okay? And I don't remember when this started, but it's kind of affected me my whole life. But for whatever reason, I have this irrational fear that at some point in the middle of the night, I'm gonna wake up and there's gonna be a human standing right next to my bed, just lurking there. So for that reason, my whole life, I have been a belly sleeper. Any belly sleepers in here? Anybody sleep on your belly? Okay, it hurts my lower back. I don't like it. I don't want to be a belly sleeper, but I do that because I'm afraid that I'm gonna wake up and somebody is literally just standing right there just lurking, just being creepy. Now, here's something kind of crazy about that fear. I know for a fact that at some point in time, in the next month, maybe 2 months, I'm gonna have to face that fear. It's going to happen to me. I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night with someone standing over me, watching me sleep. Why? You're thinking, brother, you need some Vivint or something like that. Like, you need some home security. No, here's the deal. I gotta introduce you to the person who I know is going to do this, okay? Check this out. This is my family. This is me, my wife, and our 2 sons, Carter and Charlie. Carter, he's about to turn 3 in November. Charlie is 1. Charlie refused to look at the camera. He's so cute. All you see is his forehead right here, though. Promise you, he's a really cute kid. Carter, couple weeks ago, figured out how to climb out of his crib. Okay, he's a young, growing boy. He's adventurous. He was not made for the crib, right? He wants to get out and experience life. So he figures that out. Here's what I know. At some point in time in the next month, he is going to get out of that crib, want to hang out with Dada at like 3 a.m. He's going to walk into our room. He's just going to be standing there right next to my bed. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to scream. He's going to scream. We're both going to be scarred for life. We're both going to need counseling. All right, that's going to happen. I know it. It's coming. I have irrational fears, and I have rational fears. You probably do too. With the person next to you, here's what I want you to do. I want you to discuss this question. Really easy. Be real with each other, though. What are some of your fears? Go ahead. Hey, we all have fears. Some of them are rational. Some of them are irrational. All right, we've all experienced those. Here's the thing about fear. Sometimes fear can be helpful. If you're asleep in VDP, middle of the night, and you hear your fire alarm going off, you smell smoke, and it's not that kind of smoke, right? Nobody's chiefing, like it's real smoke. You're afraid. You know you need to get out of the building. That's good fear, okay? That's good fear. You know you need to get out. Other times, fear can be a little bit of a roadblock for us. It can be the thing that holds us back from going where we want to go, from becoming who we want to be. When it comes to growing closer to God in college, I honestly think one of the biggest fears that you guys face is what people are going to think about you. It's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of rejection. It's the fear of missing out. We all experience these fears. Fear is kind of weird. Like, you start growing in your faith, and then you're learning more about God. You're taking steps towards Him, and then almost like a bad friend, fear starts whispering in your ear, like doubt. Like, what if people make fun of you? Are you really going to trust God with your life? Like, what happens in the future, 5 years from now, 10 years? Fear starts to whisper doubt into your ear. It slows us down. It becomes a roadblock. So here's the thing, guys. If you want to really experience God, not just in college, but for the rest of your life, if you want to become strong, stable, secure men and women, you must answer this question: how do I conquer fear? It's a reality that we all experience, fear. Some of it irrational, some of it rational. But if you want to experience the life that God made you for, you've got to be able to answer that question: how do I conquer fear? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. It is one of the most important questions that I think you can answer in your life. How do I conquer fear? Here's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to look at one of my favorite stories in the entire Bible, okay? And so let me lay out the background for you, and then we're going to dive right in. We got to figure out how to conquer fear. This one goes right to the heart of fear. I love it. So here's what's going on in this story. Jesus and his disciples, which, by the way, disciple just means follower or apprentice. Okay, Jesus and his followers, they're way outside of town. They're hanging out. Okay, so imagine like Sabino Canyon or Mount Lemmon. Like, they're hanging out over there. They're having a good time. The people find out that Jesus is there. And so thousands of people start walking out of town to go see Jesus, and wild stuff starts happening. Blind people get brought to Jesus. They get healed. They walk away 20/20 vision, okay? People that are lame, that cannot walk, get carried to Jesus. He touches them. He heals them. They stand up. They walk away. People with debilitating, life-altering diseases come to Jesus. They end up healed. He then teaches them about how to know God. They walk away, lives changed. At the end of the day, Jesus and his followers, man, they're tired. And so Jesus says, hey, guys, I want you to get in this boat. I want you to sail across the Sea of Galilee. I'm going to go up the mountain to pray. So the guys, they listen to him. They go get in the boat. They go across the Sea of Galilee. What's really cool about the Sea of Galilee, we can go there today. You can look up pictures of it right now. They're in this sea. It's about 13 miles wide, and they start going across the water. Jesus goes up on the mountain to pray, and this is where our story picks up. This gets crazy. Watch this. Matthew 14, verse 24, it says this: meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble, far away from land, for a strong wind had risen, and they were fighting heavy waves. So imagine you're in that boat. You're trying to get across this stretch of ocean, and there are massive waves coming over the side of this boat. Like, you're rowing as hard as you can. You're throwing water out of the boat, but you're freaking out. You know, like, hey, this is not a good situation. We need help. We don't know what we're going to do, though. Look at what happens next. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came toward them walking on the water. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, we got to pause right here. 3 a.m. Okay, this means that they have been trying to get across this stretch of water for hours. They're cold, they're wet, they're tired. Imagine you're in that boat. What are you thinking if you see Jesus coming towards you, walking on the water? I think one of two things. If you recognize him, here's what you think. Dog, that's sick. Like, this is wild. Okay, we just saw some cool stuff happening all day. I knew Jesus could heal the blind, like heal different diseases, but walking on water, brother, I have not seen this from you yet. This is awesome. If you recognize him right there, you're like, dude, this is awesome. But if you don't realize that it's Jesus, you just see this shadowy figure walking across the water towards you, you got to be freaking out. That's exactly what happened for these guys. They didn't realize who it was at first. And so here's what happens next. It says they were terrified, and in their fear they cried out, "It's a ghost." Now, here's something kind of crazy about these guys. Back then, what they believed was that if someone died at sea, like if they drowned in the water, their ghost would haunt the sea. And so these guys are thinking, okay, we're in a storm, we're possibly about to drown, and we're getting haunted right now. Everything is bad. Everything is going wrong. You've maybe been there at some point in your life. Everything is going wrong. You have no answers. You do not know what is coming next. You don't know what to do. That's exactly how these guys are feeling. Then something incredible happens. It says this: but Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage. I am here." About a month ago, 2 months ago, Carter, our oldest son, started having these night terrors. And it's freaky, guys. Like, I'm dead asleep, Val's dead asleep, middle of the night, and we just hear shrieking, like screaming super loud. Let me just say something about you guys real quick, okay? I hope you all get married. I hope that you have incredible marriages. I hope you make babies. I hope you make a lot of babies. I hope you make babies with each other in this room. I hope that happens. I do. Oh, you're like, oh, gross. It's biology. This is just science. This is what our bodies do, okay? I hope you grow amazing families. Some of the guys over here heard me said that, and they're looking across. They're like, I would like to start a family with somebody over here. That sounds wonderful. Ladies, I got some ASU guys with me, all right? So if you're looking for a baller, okay, we got some boys in here tonight, okay? You know one thing I hope you never experience? I hope you never experience hearing one of your children have night terrors. It is awful. But you know, when Carter is shrieking and is scared and is crying and is shaking, you know the one thing that calms him down? It's when I walk in his room and I say, don't be afraid, buddy. I'm here. I'm with you. Dad's got you. I pick him up, I hold him, and slowly he calms down. Don't be afraid, buddy. Guess what? I got you. You know what these guys needed to hear in the middle of this storm? Exactly what Jesus said to them. Don't be afraid. Take courage. I am here. They needed to hear from someone way more powerful than them, way more able to handle the situation, way more in control than they ever could be, and that's what they got in that moment. Now, here's the thing, though. All of them were terrified except for one. They're all frozen. They're all paralyzed, except for one. His name was Peter. And here's what happens with Peter. He says this. And Peter answered him, go back one, Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water. What a legend. Peter is just as freaked out as everybody else. He's just as tired. He's just as afraid, but he hears that Jesus is there, and he says, I've got courage now because Jesus is here with me. So he tells him, hey, tell me to come to you. Tell me to step out of the boat. Tell me to walk on the water. Here's what happens. Oh, sorry. Stay right here. I got something to say on this. When I started growing closer to God, I was a sophomore at the University of Arkansas. I had a reputation. I was the party guy. Had the parties, had the girls, money, success, status, all of it. But as I started to seek God, the number one thing I felt was fear. And it was a lot of different facets of fear. I mentioned it earlier in the talk. Fear of rejection, that my friends would turn their back on me if I said, hey, I'm all in with Jesus. Fear of the unknown. I didn't know what God would do in my life. Fear of giving up control. Fear of missing out. But I had to deal with those fears. The truth is, I was living in my comfort zone. My whole life I had been in my comfort zone. Peter, before he heard Jesus speak to him, was in his comfort zone. He was in the boat in the middle of the storm. The boat was the comfortable place to be. But when he heard Jesus, he said, I'm ready to get out of my comfort zone. I'm ready to take a risk. I'm ready to take a step of faith. And I had to do the exact same thing. If you want to know God, if you want to become wise, strong, disciplined, honorable, faithful men and women, you got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. But there's something holding you back. It's called fear. I want you to discuss with someone next to you this question. Which fear keeps you in your comfort zone? Go ahead. Let me tell you why I love Peter's story so much. He was just like us. He had a comfort zone. It was in the boat. He had fears. He had things holding him back. But when he looked at Jesus, when he saw Jesus walking on the water, he realized there's something so much better than the comfort zone. And so he tells Jesus, call me out on the water. Let's see what you can do. Jesus responds with this. Yes, come, Jesus said. So Peter went over the side of the boat and walked on the water toward Jesus. What did Peter just do? He did the impossible. Like, I don't know how many of your friends have ever walked on water. Probably zero. I know Chris Angel tried a couple years ago, okay? It wasn't real. It was fake. It was magic, all right? Not actually walking on the water. Peter did it, though. Peter was one of two people to ever walk on water. Jesus and Peter. Peter got out of his comfort zone, willing to risk, looking at Jesus saying, this is better than what I've had. You ever get tired of living in the comfort zone? It's repetitive. It's the routine. Class, girls, drugs, parties. Class, girls, drugs, parties. Class, girls, drugs, parties. Internship, drugs, girls, parties. Over and over and over again. We do all those things here. Then we go to Rocky Point and we do them there and we pretend we're adventurous, but we're not. It's just the same exact thing over and over again. We go to Cabo, we go to Vegas, lose a little bit of money, do it up there. It's the same thing. Do you ever get tired of the comfort zone? Do you ever wonder if you were made for more? The truth is you were made for so much more. Maybe you're not interested in getting out of the comfort zone. Maybe you're complacent. Maybe you're good. Maybe you're like, hey, I'm all right with my life where it is right now. My guess is you're not. You're not here tonight if you're complacent. You want more. So how do you get it? Fear is holding you back. The question we asked earlier tonight is this: how do I conquer fear? It's simple. It's one step. It's exactly what Peter did. It's exactly what we need to do. It's the one thing I want to challenge you to do tonight. It's this: get out of the boat. That's it. Get out of the boat. Whatever your comfort zone is, take one step and get out of the boat. If you really want to live, you got to get out of the boat. If you really want to know God, you've got to get out of the boat. If you really want to be strong men and women, you've got to get out of the boat. What does it take to get out of the boat? It takes faith in Jesus. That's what Peter had. He saw Jesus. He said, I believe that if I step out of this boat, I'm not going to die. You're going to take care of me. That's exactly what you need. You need faith in Jesus to get out of the boat. Here's what I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet that for the rest of his life, Peter looked back on that moment and he didn't regret it for a second. Was he afraid? Absolutely. Was he nervous? Of course. Was it something unknown? Yes. Was it worth it? 1,000%. Stepped out of the boat. He got to walk on the water with Jesus. How can you do that? How can you take a step towards Jesus? We're here for SMC night. And so an incredible opportunity that you can take to take a step towards Jesus is coming with us to SMC in Dallas, January 2nd through the 5th. Here's the deal. You guys have a long winter break, and this is your opportunity to say, hey, why not spend 3 days growing deep friendships and a strong faith? Why not? Why not get out of the boat? Here's the deal. Last year, my boy Jack Moody was chilling in the boat. All right, he was in his comfort zone. He was doing his thing, living life his own way. And then he looked around, and he saw that 133 other students from the University of Arizona were getting out of the boat. They were going to SMC. And he said, why not me? Why not me? He's got a story to tell. Y'all got to hear it. Give it up for him. Come on, Jackie boy. Let's go.
What's up, guys? I'm Jack. I'm a sophomore here. I'm in K-Sig. When I came to college last fall, I wanted to get the most out of it, right? I wanted to get the full college experience. So naturally, I joined a frat. I joined clubs. I picked a hard major. I was doing it all. And it was like so hard. Like honestly, the hardest thing ever. So when some of the older K-Sig guys introduced me to StuMo, I was like, okay, like another club, throw it on there, like let's go. I went, made some connections. It was really cool. And then they introduced me to SMC. And I was like, oh, dude, like, what's that? And then, yeah, so I went. Thankfully, it didn't take much convincing, but I went. It was super awesome. I stepped out the boat, and it was pretty rad. I grew so much in my ability to know, like, what's good with me. Like, brutal. No, my identity was so focused on the world and, hey, what can I do? What can I party? Like, what can I provide? And I realized, like, my identity needs to be in Jesus. And that'll take all that fear, all that struggle away. So when I came back from SMC, I wasn't perfect. I still struggled to find my identity. But what I realized is I had a change of heart at SMC. I was fearless, kind of. And I found this new identity, and it was awesome. The connections I made at SMC will last my whole life. Like the relationships I built at U of A, at ASU, at many of the other campuses that were there are gonna be for my whole life. So if you guys are on the fence, step out the boat, take a risk. You won't regret it. So, yeah.
Come on, dude. Great job. Great job. Hey, I have lived way too much of my life in the comfort zone. It is comfy, and I liked it. But I was made for so much more. You have been in your comfort zone. We all have, and we both know that we were made for so much more. As of right now, 94 people in this room are going to SMC. That's incredible, guys. 94 people? At ASU, we have 12, okay? You're dominating us. We're trying to make a comeback, all right? 94 people in this room are going to SMC. If you haven't signed up for SMC yet, this is your time. Do not let fear hold you back. Don't be that one person bored at home winter break thinking, I should have gone to SMC. I can't believe I didn't get out of the boat. This is your shot. The choice is yours. You can do one of two things in life, especially when it comes to fear. You can live the comfortable life, or you can live the conquering life, but you can't do both. Thank you.